Sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready?
And now, the W with Walls and the crew.
Good morning.
Where winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. On 100.1 FM.
Good morning.
And Facebook Live.
Good morning. Right back like we never left. Another Saturday morning with the W Show, Kansas City, talking sports and pop culture. If this is your first time checking us out, we greatly appreciate you making us a part of your Saturday morning. What's happening, y'all?
What's popping?
Rise and shine.
It's been a few weeks since we've all been here.
I know, I missed you guys.
Yeah.
Gang's back. The boys
yeah.
are back.
Seems like it's been a whole month.
Man, how's everyone's week?
It was good. It was really good. I feel like the fall vibes are really starting full swing this week.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's my favorite time of the year, man. Fall.
Really?
Short sleeves during the day, jacket at night.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's LA weather.
Get your fits off.
Yeah. I like it. I like
Like,
it.
boy, get this fit off right there.
We've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk friend of the show, Mecole Hardman. He's traded from the Jets back to Kansas City. We'll also talk a little Frank Clark news. Maybe he's going to be in Kansas City, maybe not. We'll talk about that. And NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, he agreed to a contract extension through 2027. No surprise there. And 6 Missouri high school football teams, including 3 in the Kansas City area, they played with ineligible athletes this season, so they've had to forfeit several other games. So we'll dive into that and see just what happened. Las Vegas Aces, WNBA team. They are the first WNBA team to repeat as champs in 21 years, beating the Liberty. We'll dive into that. And coming up in about 30 minutes, we'll have our sneakers of the week during our Hater 11 segment. Let's get to today's headlines.
And now, here are the biggest sports headlines from this week. We bring them to you every Saturday morning on the W with Walls and the crew on 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
And another dude who's back, Jets trade wide receiver Mecole Hardman back to the Chiefs. Steve, how are you feeling about this one?
I like it. I think they've been looking for a deep threat. They really haven't had that. They had it with who I thought was by far their best wide receiver so far this season, in Justin Watson. And I think he's the fastest receiver too. I mean, you have MVS. And he's making $11 million this year. I don't think he's played up to his potential. Whether that's MVS or that's Patrick, something is not connecting there. And then you have Rashee Rice, who's the rookie, who is their leading wide receiver with about 240 or so receiving yards so far, and I think 3 or 4 touchdowns. So, if he's your leading wide receiver, now I'm not taking anything away from Rashee Rice. But I think, you should have a guy, and they don't have a guy. And at least to make defenses play honest, if you don't have that deep threat ability, and, that's how Patrick, got through the first few years because he had the deep threat ability and Tyreek. And then last year, you still had you had to watch out for Juju. And MVS was in that mix, and you had Mecole at the beginning of the season, and he was balling.
Yeah.
And then you can do different things with Mecole as far as he can do punt return. He still can do those jet sweeps, which is going to make the defense react. If you're sending Mecole around on a jet sweep, it's definitely you're going to see that shift in the defense, and it's going to make them play more honest. So I think it's going to be a good thing, especially in that wide receiver room.
Does it worry you that you're looking for a playmaker this season?
No, because last year, you think about the beginning of the season, they were like, well, who's going to be wide receiver 1? That was through the first 3 or 4 weeks. So I don't think this season's any different. We had the names last year. I think it was like, oh, well, they're still Juju. They're still MVS. They're still, you guys still got Mecole. And then Sky was, not playing up to his ability. Of course, he was a rookie, throwing in punt return, things like that. But I feel like you still had those options last year, but they weren't panning out at the beginning of the season. They just had to like gel and click together. And I think that's what they need.
So do you see 11 and 24 here next season?
Yeah, I think Sky's for sure. Sky's going to be here. I don't think MVS, not unless he comes through. Now, don't get me wrong. Like MVS helped in the postseason. There were a couple of plays that he helped with, but I don't, not making $11 million, man. And you had one target last week, no receptions. You look at different teams, and I'll just throw these teams out there. And I want y'all to answer this. So you think about Minnesota, who's their go-to?
Justin Jefferson. And then 17, I forget his name. Yeah, KJ.
Yeah, Osborne, friend of the show, KJ Osborne. Then you think of Buffalo Bills. Who you go to?
I mean, you got Stephon Diggs.
Think about Cincinnati
Davis.
Bengals. Who are you going to?
Because Stephon Diggs, I mean, going back to the Buffalo Bills, I mean, Stephon Diggs isn't their deep threat. It's Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
So you have a couple of 1-2ers there. Now, what was the next team?
Cincinnati Bengals.
I mean, you got T. Higgins now that he's healthy.
Yep.
And then you got Jamar Chase now that he's healthy.
Eagles.
And then I forget their tight end. I mean, if you want to talk about the Eagles, well, I mean, we could.
We're gonna talk about them later, but like, who's their go-to? Like, who do you know that they're coming hell or high water? The ball's going to them.
No, yeah, because you have either a tight end that they're going to.
Higby.
You have either what's your boy's name? Why am I having a brain fart right now? Devontae Smith.
I mean, AJ Brown.
Yeah, AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Like you have a couple of targets.
Yeah. So
that could.
And my point for that was like, if there's a situation where you got a third down, 3rd and 5, you're going to go to that wide receiver.
But you have and that's the crazy thing about the Chiefs, because you have like all of those teams you mentioned, you have a tight end in the mix there still.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a couple of guys that can stretch the field.
Yeah.
And then you also have a guy that could at least eat up the middle. And I think that's what Juju did well last year in the system. He ate up the middle and commanded so much attention that Travis was able to like leak out. And so again, when you talk about the first couple of years, 2019, 2020, and 2021, it was like a pick your poison, because you had a Tyreek that could eat up all of the attention, whether it's deep or across the middle. And there isn't anybody that commands the attention from the secondary on this Chiefs team. And that's why I say, do you worry about it at this point in the season? Because I mean, we're week what? We just did week 6, so now this is week 7. You're getting into the grind part of the year. Not necessarily where you're building chemistry, but your team identity should have shown already. And that's one thing that we talked about it before the season. I worry about the Eagles because they hadn't been so explosive on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So now you add Julio Jones, a guy that could. Him and AJ Brown are like 1-to-1 to me. It seems like. I mean, because both of those guys have big bodies. Both of them are very athletic.
Don't give up too much because we're going to dive into that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys think that Mecole Hardman is the playmaker though that you're looking for?
Well,
because he was injury struck and then he went to the Jets and really didn't do much. So
you don't expect him to do much, especially with Aaron Rodgers going down.
Fair.
Like we didn't see that team's full potential and how they were constructed looking forward to the future. So now, cancel out Aaron Rodgers. I mean, what do you have in Zach Wilson? He's not gonna mesh with Mecole Hardman in a couple of months. And especially with him being the number 2.
Yeah.
So now he's thrown in there, and not necessarily thrown in because he was the starter last year. But now you're thrown in with a completely different look of all your different weapons. and I don't know if Mecole has the momentum coming into this team. Is the offense different from when Eric Bieniemy was here?
I mean, they have some new wrinkles, but I mean, for pretty much it's the same. I mean, as long as you got Andy Reid, it's still going to be
So you're coming back basically to the same system. Yeah. And for him, I mean, he's probably going to eat up all of like Sky's time, because
I think here's the thing about that. You still Sky's still going. I think you're going to have to be able to do some different things with Mecole. I think he's going to do punt return.
He's definitely going to do punt return.
I feel like you're still going to have so Justin Watson is injured.
Yeah.
You have Richie James injured. So they're going to have the same amount of time, because Justin Watson played, I think, 90% of the snaps, 85% of the snaps. So you're going to be able to throw them into the mix and do different packages with him. But I mean, you're playing 3 wide receivers either way, so.
And I mean, basically 4 with Travis, but I think that's the, when you, and for comparison's sake, when Shaq left the Lakers and it was Kobe Bryant, you tried to shut down Kobe and then make everyone else shine.
Yeah.
And so in this instance, you're going to do everything you can to contain Travis Kelce, but then that's where your Jujus came in, your Tyreeks came in, your Mecoles came in. Like, there were a lot of different pieces that could come in. And I don't know if those pieces mesh like that now, because you really don't have anyone with game breaking speed. Mecole, yes.
Yeah.
Mecole has it, but then you're missing the strength factor that Tyreek had. Like, Tyreek was fast, but he was also like super strong. So when it came to breaking tackles, he was a wizard in that.
And one of the things that Mecole talked about in his press conference on Friday or yesterday was that he had gotten he was asked a question about, what's so different about you now? Like, you went to another team, and now you're back. So what's different? And he said he feels more mature because when he was here, he said he had internally, he was dealing with a lot of arrogance inside of it. And I'm like, wow, he said that. So that means he knew. So he's like, hey, I dealt with a lot of arrogance. I felt like I was getting a little too arrogant. And then when I got injured, he said he was at home one night and it was just like a stomach. He thought it was a stomach cramp. He thought it would go away, but it got worse. So he had to go to the hospital. He said he was in the hospital for like 10 days, couldn't walk. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. So he said he ended up playing in the AFC Championship game and he got hit. And that's when he had to leave the game, and he had to go immediately have surgery. And it ended up being abdominal strain, like a hernia.
A hernia, that's what it was. Yeah.
So he said when that time came, he felt like he got more closer to God. He took football away from me and made me realize, like, hey, I can't take things for granted. So,
and then he also, I mean, he's starting a family, getting engaged, having a kid. All of that, yes, will grow you up, but when it comes to this, like, is he ready to receive being the guy?
He talked about that too. He said last year it was going to be his first year without Tyreek Hill, right? Like, being able to actually be the man.
And I remember that preseason, him talking, And so
he was like, oh man, and then I got injured. So he's like, now he's just gonna do whatever they need him to do. Like, here, I'm whatever you need me to be, I'm here.
And then what if you are, because I want to put MVS in this, but if you're Sky Moore, what does this do for your confidence?
Bringing Mecole into that wide receiver room, you're getting a guy that he was here in 2019 when they won the Super Bowl the first year. He was here in 2020 when they lost. 2020, they lost in 2020. In 2021, they didn't go back. And then he was here in 2022 when they won again. So he's seen the ups and the downs, and he's seen just how to become a professional athlete, right? A professional football player. So he knows I think, how to study now. He knows how to watch
Yeah.
film, and I think he'll bring that to the Sky Moore, Rasheed Rice in that room, and just show them how to be football players.
And
Because you need that.
And that's my worry also for the Chiefs is when you have really not a lot of depth, but then it's very young.
Yeah.
Like your number one wide receiver at this point, like, is just now becoming mature. Like, and so I'm not saying he's not able to lead, but if you're still figuring out your maturation process,
Yeah.
it's really going to be hard to pull somebody else along.
But I think MVS is that though, and I think about it, it's MVS in that room because even when I was talking to Rasheed Rice and asking him, on Fridays do the 2-minute drill, and I was asking him, like, if you were the ruler of the world, one of the questions was if you were the ruler of the world and you had to choose your top advisor, who would your top advisor be? And he said it'd definitely be MVS.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why? And he was like, because MVS, talks to him a lot about off the field things, financially, just everything. He goes to MVS for that. And I think even though he's not being the man on the field, I feel like he's still going to be that teammate off the field and show why he's a veteran, because he brought that last year with Sky.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, we posted that the video of, I believe it was Sky and one of the other rookies where they did the rookie dinner, and they gave Sky like an $84,000 bill.
Yeah.
And he's like, MVS ended up taking care of the bill. It wasn't $84,000, ended up being like $2,500 or something, but that was like a rookie little hazing thing. And he was like, yeah. And we asked MVS about it. He's like, yeah, that was what was done to me. So he's like, I wanted to repay the thing and like do it, to Sky. So I think MVS is that guy when you think about just who the mentor is in that room. But now, adding Mecole into that mix, it can help.
No, definitely, and it could. I think for this team, the speed is gonna rule. And if Mecole is able to have that speed, that he had, 3-4 years ago, well, not even 3-4 years, 2 years ago, if he's able to harness that speed, I think it helps out just the offense as a whole, because it stretches it, and you're not necessarily looking at Patrick having a deep threat. So now with this adding that deep threat, it could make them more dynamic. But if you harness Mecole and you harness, I mean, it's going to be hard to harness Travis. But
one of the things too is, I know y'all know this from playing sports, but talent is infectious.
Yeah.
Like you get one dude that's balling, then it kind of is that domino effect.
Momentum.
Yeah, it's like that domino effect of, man, he out here speed demon. Like, what? Let me get out here and get off. You know what I'm saying? Like that is kind of the thing that I'm guessing can happen.
I mean, you would guess, but we haven't seen this team have fun in almost a season and a half.
Yeah. Well, they did last year at the end, going towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
End of the season
when the picture starts looking clearer that you're the better team in the AFC. But I mean,
It's definitely been a fight.
Growing pains though.
They haven't been
growing
having
pains.
fun. Yeah,
Growing pains.
But yeah.
Now it looks like Roger Goodell is here to stay, and the NFL commissioner agreed to a contract extension through 2027. Q, your thoughts on this one?
I mean, I think it's obvious. I don't know if anybody else is in the running for that position. And I don't think they're ready to move on from him. When did Goodell get this position? Was it mid 2000s? 6. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're ready to move on from him. I can't say that he's expanding the league, but the league is expanding with him there. I mean, just even the conversation about taking the Super Bowl overseas, like that'd
be crazy.
That's a huge conversation to have, just to even whisper it now. But yeah, I'm looking at that. I mean, Goodell has been in a position to help the game expand. But the tough thing about football is that you can't really keep football up with the times. Like the NBA is different because the NBA is a very progressive league, and the NFL is a very traditional league. And I mean, Goodell is holding on to that tradition, and I mean, they love it clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anybody else. Here's my thing about this too. The only other thing that I could, have a little bit of pushback on is, who else could take over, right? Like, I mean, you think about some guys
It's
like
not
that
going to be a
runs the
woman or a black man.
NFLPA.
So-
I mean, and that's the thing though. It could. I mean, if there's a if the NFLPA, because I mean, it has to be voted on by the owners. And if there's someone that,
And you think 31 owners is voting in either a black man or a woman?
I mean, sometimes, well, so it's all about, and here's the thing, money's green.
Money
right?
is green.
It's whatever, whoever is going to make them some money. And if a black guy is coming in there and is going to sell them a story that, I'm going to be able to do this, I'm going to be able to do this, whatever Goodell isn't doing, I can bring this to the league. Or if a woman is able to do that and they're a top candidate, I feel like, they're going to, the ownership, they don't care if you black or white. Like,
I don't see a woman anytime soon.
You don't see it?
No.
Nah. So again, with the NFL being so traditional, you're not seeing a black man as a commissioner. You're not seeing a woman as a commissioner. I mean, imagine the the media hellfire they start getting if a woman is named, or even a woman is in the running for the NFL.
Why you say that?
Because the respect isn't even given with the women in the coaching field.
Exactly.
Like we've talked about it, of course, and it's some headlines, but how we don't even talk about the women that are on the sidelines that are assistant coaches. I mean, it was like a little bit with the 49ers, but
Katie Sowers after that,
didn't phased out, didn't hear much about it or any progression. Like, why is she not having opportunities to work up in the coaching staff?
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't think that. I think that's a far reach.
Yeah, I mean, I would say a guy like DeMaurice Smith, who
I don't think you
friend of the show, basically. He came to the luncheon that we did. Yeah. I would say a guy like that. I mean, first of all, you have to be an attorney. You have to be someone that, like you said, Jazz, respected in the league, and I think he's respected by not only players, but some. I can't say all owners, but some. I mean, he ran the NFLPA, and it could happen. It's all about money. It really is. It's whoever can, sell the NFL. You mentioned overseas. They're gonna have to be able to sell it overseas. So,
I think if it was a woman, she'd be taking a hell of a pay cut compared to a man.
Oh my God!
But you never know. You never know. 6 Missouri high school football teams, including 3 in the Kansas City area, played with ineligible athletes this season, forcing them to forfeit several games. Lincoln Prep, Grandview are some of the schools, Park Hill South. What are you guys' thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Steve, explain this to us. Because I saw the thing about ineligible players, but then I was seeing some Facebook posts that was kind of like media fluff, but now we're seeing 2 or 3 more teams added to this. Like,
normally this happens when you don't see this many teams at one time. You normally have a kid. It comes from a kid that transfers. Let's just say we're at center and we want to transfer to Grandview or Lincoln Prep. Well, the rule for Missouri State High School Athletic Association is it has to be a total family move. Which means like your parents got moved their house or whatever it can be. You still living there, but you're just going to school out there or living with a relative or something, which happens most often. And it had to be where one of the kids or these kids were at a school and their family still lives there, and they went to go live with a brother or an aunt or somewhere else, somebody else in that district. And now they're going to the school because their family member lives in that district. So that's, and here's the thing about it. Like, and Jason West, who is, I think the president or the director of Missouri State High School Athletic Association, he says it does seem to be quite a few more than what we've dealt with in the past. He said there's not an investigative arm. within Missouri State High School Athletic Association. Member schools govern themselves, and reporting is appreciated and needed. So these schools told on themselves, and they said it was at the administrative. Sometimes it can be coaching. Like, I mean, you get a new coach at a school, they're like, oh, they want to recruit these players and they don't live in a district, just makes them better. Like, we've seen that across the board. But now it's like, all right, the school, they're saying that it wasn't, the coaches had no idea, it was just at the administrative level, which means they didn't do their due diligence. It's like, oh, was this a full family move, or was, and when a kid leaves in a high school, like I was talking about center, going from center to Grandview, well, the athletic department at center, they can either check a box saying, or do they feel like this kid is leaving because of athletic reasons? And if they check that box, then of course it sends a red flag to Missouri State High School Athletic Association and say, hey, we feel like this kid is transferred because of athletic reasons. Why are you leaving this school? Is it a full family move? Then they go through all the questionnaires, and it's kind of an investigative process done at that point.
Okay, yeah, because I mean we went through that in the late 90s. I think a lot of different players skirted the system doing that. I mean, we had a couple of players leave our school to go to the Park Hill Souths, the different schools, and it was only having a relative with the address in the district. So I understand that.
Shoot.
I don't know, but it I mean, this shows you how wild that it's gotten. And I mean, for so many teams to self-impose, like, I'm like, how do you feel about this rule? Like, does it make it more fair?
I think it does, because then you get a lot of schools, you get these powerhouse schools, like that's what happened. It was like the Great Migration, right? Like, you getting all these kids that are coming from the inner city, Kansas City public schools, and they were going out to, at one point it was to Raytown. Even before Lee Summit, it was to Raytown and Raytown South. Like, that was it, and possibly Center and Grandview. But then,
well, you had Blue Springs in that mix.
But then, before that, you still had that's where they stopped. Like, that was we can move out to Raytown, and we're not going to move any further than that. Well, then they started moving out a little bit further. They started making more dependable cars, and then they started moving out to Lee Summit. The Lee Summit West started becoming the Blue Springs, Blue Springs South. Now it's like, oh, well, what happens to the Kansas City public schools? I mean, look, they took away Paseo's basketball team. They had one of the better teams in the city at one point. Then you had like the Westports. What happened? They started closing all these schools down because these kids and these families started moving out because they felt like, well, the education is better out here, and then the sports are better.
That's part of the city's issue as well, because I mean, the city has definitely extracted the resources from KC-Mo.
Yeah.
So,
and then you can look at like a North Kansas City school. When Staley opened up, I think Staley's been open about 12, 13 years now.
Yeah.
When Staley opened up 12 years ago, a lot of the kids from Oak Park, because Staley has 4 high school. I mean, North Kansas City School District has 4 high schools that have Oak Park, Staley, Winnetonka, and North Kansas City. So a lot of the kids from Oak Park, which is the closest to Staley, they ended up transferring to Staley. It was a new, bigger, shinier thing. They were going to be 5A. They're going to be able to compete with the likes of Blue Springs, the Lee Summit West.
Went to state the first year.
Yeah, went to state the first year. Yeah, I mean, because you get all these kids that go out there, then there's still not that filter system. Yeah. I think they dealt with a lot of people moving out to the North Kansas City School District because they wanted to go to Staley.
Yeah.
Like, so I think you're still going to deal with that, not only in Kansas City, but across the country.
Yeah.
Like, it's a problem, but.
And that's what I wonder how this rule is in, like, you know, the Texas, the states like Texas, California, and Florida that are really big on, you know, the athletic output between the NFL, the NBA, like all of that. Like, I wonder how is this a similar thing? Because I mean, I feel like in states as big as Texas and California, you can get away with that a lot more.
And do you guys think that this is somewhat of a trickle effect from NIL deals and the open transfer rule in college now? Because now if you you transfer from universities, you don't have to sit out a year anymore. So is it people trying to funnel in that direction now? I mean, have that freedom?
We talked when we remember. I don't know if you remember when we talked about the 30th state that now allows kids to get NIL deals, which is Georgia. The only other closest state is Kansas. I think Kansas does it, but they have some different rules where your kids can now get NIL deals. So I think once Missouri has that, then it's going to be a little bit different. because you still have these private schools that can go out and recruit kids. Like you have like the Mia's, the Pembroke Hills, Rockhurst. They can go out and say, hey, we can give you, instead of your parents paying the $10,000 a year, we'll give you a scholarship. And I think that was
and I knew a couple of guys that took advantage of that.
Of course. Yeah. But now can these schools survive if the top kids go and get impaled into one school? Like I don't think they can.
And I think that's something on a city level, because I mean the state is not going to do it in its current form, but I think the city needs to get more aggressive on how we divert resources and funds to these schools in KC-Mo so that we foster more of just a sports culture. And I mean, a lot of the KC-Mo schools, you barely see them have participation between cheerleading and dance and also sports. But now in KC-Mo, you're starting to see more soccer teams emerge. And I think it would be, I mean, big word, advantageous for the for the city to really focus in on that culture of sports. I mean, because this is a sports town.
It is. It is. And you get those one-offs. You get like a Oak Park that had an Ochai Abaji. Like, but then what happens after that? Like your head coach leaves,
and that's what I'm saying.
Now, shout out to Sharon Collins, friends of the show. Sharon Collins, he's now the head coach at Oak Park, and I think they're going to start to get more kids in there because of Sharon and that KU tie, right? Like, but you're still going to have the top schools that have. Let's just look at, if we look at basketball, like you're still going to have your Lee Summit West, who are always expected to be good. Your Bishop Miege. Staley, North Kansas City had a little run in there as well. So I mean, you're still gonna have those, but then what about those middle tier schools like the Raytown Souths? That the crazy thing about it is it's a citywide problem. But then these kids have to go and compete with the St. Louis schools, and they don't compete. Like you think these schools are have the best kids, but then when you look at when they go down to play the Vashons or they go to play the Hazelwood, those kind of schools, they don't compete well
at all.
So I mean, that's the argument that we can have around here. But let's just look at it from a Missouri statewide thing. I don't feel like it's that big of an issue when you think about how them competing against St. Louis.
Yeah.
Now, the Las Vegas Aces are definitely getting it done. They became the first to repeat WNBA champs in 21 years, beating New York 70-69 in Game 4. How do you guys feel about this one?
I mean, I just should have been regular season MVP, and I mean it had shown through. And it's funny because honest moment, I didn't watch any of the games, but I did keep up with some highlights and different things just throughout this playoffs. And to see them lose two starters that contribute in this last game, and then for Aja to show up like she did, or Asia, I keep calling her Aja, but Asia to show up like she did, it to me, that says that she should have been the regular season MVP. Her talent is just too. It's too much. And yeah, I like the Aces. I like the energy that they're bringing to the WNBA. I mean, this back-to-back thing. Because we saw the Houston. What was it? It's not the Houston Rockets, but the Comets. I mean, we seen them do it back then with Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Swoops. And now this brings like a new energy to the WNBA, because I feel like I saw a lot of comments of people like, hey, I didn't even know they were having the finals. And it's like, how could you not know? And especially with how much fun this team is having. And I think seeing them, this is how much fun we saw the Chiefs teams having between like 2019, 20, and 21. like you said, the talent being infectious. I just love it. I love it. And just looking forward to, the next couple of seasons for the WNBA expanding. I'm excited for the sport as a whole in itself.
And I think fun, and if you saw any of the sideline interviews in the post conference, a lot of them were super emotional.
Yeah.
And I think that was really a moment for me, like how much it takes to run it back like that. And I
Yeah.
know I think it might've been Asia Wilson that her father had passed away during the season. And so, or one of them. And so that was really like cool just to see the full circle moment and what it takes. Cause like seeing, of course, here with the Chiefs, when we saw them go back and then it was the disappointment and everything, but to see them get excited and get hype, and they just seem so personable, like in all of the interviews and talking and getting excited. And I know last year we were laughing when they were talking about like you need to be 4 shots deep when you show up. And so then this year she was like, you need to be 8 shots deep when we show up. And so that's just really cool to see the energy, especially coming from women and seeing like the engagement. And I think it's going to be really cool to see how they do. Like, is this going to be dynasty talk? Like, I think it's super exciting.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was thinking about. It's just that, just like, is this a dynasty team? Because you get Las Vegas and you don't think about Las Vegas for sports.
No.
Like now you're starting to. I mean, you think about the Aces, you think about what's their hockey team? I can't remember. The Golden Knights. You think about the Raiders, right? Like the Golden Knights won in their first year of inception in Las Vegas. So
and they're still courting an NBA team.
Exactly. So now it's like putting Las Vegas on a map for this is a sports town, and it's good for women's sports, especially. And women's basketball too, because you think about the expansion of Golden State now getting a team. They're going to be on the West, so will they be able to compete with the Las Vegas Aces? And shout out to New York Liberty for not getting like swept, because that was going to happen. But they couldn't win the game 3, I believe, in New York. So
You gotta let them win one for vanity's sake. Jordan did it. Like he let the Supersonics win one.
Yeah.
You gotta let them win one.
Yeah, but I think would you get Asia Wilson, you get all these, and I saw like a post about Becky Hammond, dancing with them in the locker room, and we always see Becky Hammond so serious, but it was cool to see her letting her hair down. She has some moves too. Did y'all see that?
I don't think I saw that.
It was really funny. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think just like you said, them having fun is really trickling down. And I think with that even helps in the Angel Reese situation. Like, I think you can kind of see it unfolding of the women's basketball starting to be fun. And we've talked so long, even with MLB, about they need more swag and for more engagement. And I think the WNBA is kind of running with that right now.
They're doing a great job of it.
I'm here for it.
And then even they're like pregame fits and stuff. Like
get them walking in the tunnel. Yeah, it's dope.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. Keep locked in. This is W Show. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Come spin with us, Kansas City. KC WeSpin 360 is the coolest 360 video spinner experience for events. KC WeSpin 360 is taking it to the next level. The 360 video spinner platform rental will be the life of the party. Everyone will be talking about their 360 video experience while bragging about it on their social media pages. The captivating slow motion and reverse effects will have your guests feeling like celebrities. The KC WeSpin 360 video spinner can capture slow-mo videos, GIFs, and boomerangs from every angle. Specializing in corporate events, weddings, social gatherings, bar bat mitzvahs, school events, and fundraisers, KC WeSpin 360 can be found online at kcwespin360.com. Come spin with us, Kansas City.
Your loved ones matter the most. Take the burden away by pre-planning personal arrangements that fit you and your family perfectly. Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services will be here to comfort your family and take special requests. Plan and feel confident your loved ones will be less stressed and can console each other in their time of need. We will be here when you need us at 816-231-GATE or visit kcgoldengate.com, exchanging your grief for a golden experience.
Football fans, you can't spell gate without Gates, and great tailgates start with Gates sauces and seasonings. Named synonymous with mouth-watering tailgates. When you make your list of tailgate essentials, add Gates sauces and seasonings to that list. Spice up your tailgate experience with that unmistakable great taste. Available in 4 tantalizing flavors. Classic, sweet, mild, and hot. Find it at your local grocer, and if you don't see it, ask for it. Visit GatesBarbecue.com to purchase any of the great sauces and seasonings. Great tailgates start with Gates.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Now, a better won over $13K on an NFL parlay from jail to make his bond. On Monday, a TikTok video went viral where he's calling someone from jail to place a parlay bet for him. I think we have the clip. Let's watch it first.
Man, just bet 500 on this ticket. Make it a parlay. All right, I got Raiders over Patriots. I got the Jets over Eagles. Bills over New York Giants. Lions over Tampa Bay. Rams over Cardinals. New York Liberty, the basketball team. Yeah, the WNBA. New York Liberty over Las Vegas Aces. Yeah, make all of it a parlay.
He bet like his life was dependent on it.
Yeah.
He had time.
Like, shoot, get me up out of here. Make these bets for me.
Look, because he lost me at that Jets over Eagles, but clearly he knew something. Like,
He had time. He had
Yeesh.
time.
Yeah, that 500 turned into 13,000. And he needed 10 to make his bond. So he was out. Plus he had $3,000 in his pocket.
look, got enough to buy all the sneakers.
Man.
Crazy. Now, U.S. Reebok appoints Shaquille O'Neal to president of basketball.
I'm excited about this, because this is like one of those legacy brands.
Yeah.
Like, you get the Nike, you get the Adidas, and then Reebok, right? But sometimes you need that boost of like fresh. You need something fresh, and I think Shaq is going to be that.
And I think we talked about it earlier in the year with Reebok, kind of reformulating some things, realigning some things, and really going for that push. But I don't remember talking about Shaq being the president of basketball. So like, was this the announcement for him? Okay, because so they announced him, and then he also announced bringing on Angel Reese.
Yep.
Yeah, okay,
yep. Which is dope because giving her NIL deal, that's just kind of the more of the freshness that you need. Somebody who's liked, right? Like so.
And young, and on the female side, like I don't know. I haven't worn a pair of Reeboks in a while. I don't know how much they cater to like women's colorways.
What was the last
like
Reeboks y'all had?
It might have been some Reebok pumps.
I had some classic. Oh no, well, I tell you, I got some Reeboks right now. I got the Iversons, but those were but before that, like I had the Reebok Classics. That's back in high school.
Yeah, because the Iversons was hard to get back then.
Yeah.
I think the only ones you could get was the red. Was it the red toe or the blue toe? I think it was.
Both were hard to get.
Yeah, but they were hard to get back then.
I can't even remember. But there for a while, wasn't Reebok apparel in like Walmart?
For a minute, it was like Champs and Reebok.
So are they
Champion and Reebok?
Is he gonna take it out of Walmart now? What is that gonna look like?
Yeah, and yes, I think so. Because I think what Reebok did is they saw Champion go through their rebrand.
They did,
and Champion kind of fizzled out, but I think I still see people wearing Champion.
Yeah. For the kids, like my son wanted Champion. He wanted all the Champion gear. The thing about it was they put it in like the City Gears, the Foot Lockers, and made it cool.
Yeah.
Like because before it's like Champion, you got on Champion. Kind of gave you that little look. Like,
but they gave the throwback vibes too. Then I think that was a new kind of wave.
Yeah.
Man, keep Reebok in Walmart.
No, I love it for Reebok because now I'm interested to see what they do. Because Nike really pushed forward the Nike tech suits. A lot of that different branding around the technology, I guess it is. But Reebok definitely has an open window to be able to create something special.
Definitely. Now, on the other side, the NBA world reacts to Joel Embiid reportedly signing with Skechers. Of course, whenever you think about basketball, you don't think about Skechers.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about this one?
So wait, who did Kawhi sign with?
Kawhi signed with New Balance.
So New Balance. Now we have Skechers.
Yeah, I can see New Balance. I can see that
New
They've
Balance,
been coming
because
with it.
I wear New Balance.
Yeah.
So
because I mean, walking, running shoes, yes, but now they bleed over into basketball. But what is Skechers gonna do?
I've never owned a pair of Skechers.
I refuse.
And Joel Embiid's not a guy that I'm gonna like take fashion advice from. It just doesn't seem like.
I mean that, but I feel like if you wear Skechers, like you probably addicted to vape pens. Like I'm not trying to hang around nobody in Skechers. Like what? Like you are a sketchy individual. Like
Or they're like giving orthopedic vibes. Like what?
yeah,
I don't
like
know.
no, like yeah, because Skechers seems like a brand of shoes you would wear if you had your legs replaced.
Or for like work, or for work. Like when you're working a
what?
long shift, then you get the Skechers, and it's like those are strictly work shoes. You know, you don't ever wear them outside.
Yeah, he had his knee replaced, so he's got to wear Skechers in his hospital bed for the next 2 months. Like no,
Yeah, so they have with Julius Randle, Terrence Mann are all also expected to wear Skechers.
Okay, and so now I'm really gonna have to do a deep dive because now I'm interested in who their creative director is gonna be with this basketball wing. Because I mean, what are you gonna do?
It's going to take a huge like leap of faith to dive into that pool of because Puma's killing it right now with the mellow balls.
Yeah, and Puma has kind of always been there. Not necessarily for basketball, but I mean Puma has been there as far as like cool looking shoes. Reebok. I mean, you had Shaq, you had the Reebok pumps,
Iverson.
You had Iverson, but now we've kind of had this like 20 to 30 year window where we haven't seen that. So are they going to do like Hollywood and bring back all the classics and remake them, or do they create a whole new wave? And you can create a new wave. I mean, it's time to kind of like reimagine shoes, but
yeah.
I just don't know how they're gonna make them like swaggy. Like, there's just no way that Skechers.
Because I feel like Reebok is gonna add a big strap to something, and it's just gonna look ridiculous.
I think they may be dope.
So
guess we'll see. Eagles signed 7-time Pro Bowler wide receiver Julio Jones to deal. Q, how you feeling about this one?
I want to be excited about this.
Julio's old. He washed, man. he old.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I want to be excited about this, but is he washed? Because I mean, well, can you be washed if you go from Matt Ryan to Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah, Tom.
Wasn't he hurt around that time though? I think he was. I think he was coming back from injury and stuff. But again, it's tough for me to get excited about this because I feel like him and AJ are kind of the same.
Nah, AJ had a
athlete.
AJ's had a lot longer lifespan than Julio. Like he's balling right now.
Well, I mean, he's a little younger, and I feel like they were on the Titans at the same time. But like, I don't know because I feel like Julio would be great across the middle, but that's where AJ and Devontae live. So now we're overcrowding the middle of the field. I don't know, but I mean it could work out because I mean Jalen definitely does need another weapon. I mean we'll see how he do because if he starts having these knee and ankle injuries he was having in Atlanta, like you know what? Here give you a couple $100 and just go hang out at the club every night or something.
Colorado coach Deion Sanders writing a book for 2024 release.
Knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Knew
Not
this was
surprised.
coming.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Yeah. I mean, one thing's for certain, two things for sure. When you have, that type of celebrity, you're gonna write a book. I mean, we've been talking about Will and Jada, both of their books for the last like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, Yes, this is the obvious money play.
Like my grandma always used to say, strike while the iron's hot.
Look,
ain't no better time than now.
Look, it is sizzling like a fajita plate from Chili's.
Are you guys going to pick up the book?
I probably will.
I
probably will.
I'm going to read it. It's definitely going to be a pool read for sure. I will be picking it up. Phillies fans buy cheap LCS tickets with no plan to attend just to block the D-backs fans.
This is funny though.
Petty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Petty.
Look, you got to do something to bring some interest to baseball because it definitely is not the game.
Yeah, I guess they're just throwing shade at this point, but more power to you.
Yeah, the dude bought 14 tickets and then posted it to Twitter, and then it was started a trend. Like it was because it was a 2:00 game, so the tickets were super cheap.
Yeah.
Nobody was going because of work, but it's still NLCS. So,
well, on that note, we're gonna take a quick break. Coming up, we'll dive into our Hate It or Love It segment. Keep it locked in. This is the W Show. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Come spin with us, Kansas City. KC We Spin 360 is the coolest 360 video spinner experience for events. KC We Spin 360 is taking it to the next level. The 360 video spinner platform rental will be the life of the party. Everyone will be talking about their 360 video experience while bragging about it on their social media pages. The captivating slow motion and reverse effects will have your guests feeling like celebrities. The KC We Spin 360 video spinner can capture slow-mo videos, GIFs, and boomerangs from every angle. Specializing in corporate events, weddings, social gatherings, bar bat mitzvahs, school events, and fundraisers, KC We Spin 360 can be found online at KCWeSpin360.com. Come spin with us, Kansas City.
Your loved ones matter the most. Take the burden away by pre-planning personal arrangements that fit you and your family perfectly. Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services will be here to comfort your family and take special requests. Plan and feel confident your loved ones will be less stressed and can console each other in their time of need. We will be here when you need us at 816-231-GATE or visit kcgoldengate.com, exchanging your grief for a golden experience.
Football fans, you can't spell gate without Gates, and great tailgates start with Gates sauces and seasonings. Named synonymous with mouth-watering tailgates. When you make your list of tailgate essentials, add Gates sauces and seasonings to that list. Spice up your tailgate experience with that unmistakable great taste. Available in 4 tantalizing flavors. Classic, sweet, mild, and hot. Find it at your local grocer, and if you don't see it, ask for it. Visit GatesBarbecue.com to purchase any of the great sauces and seasonings. Great tailgates start with Gates.
Tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Remember to interact with our show. Use hashtag talk about it. Message us, and we'll talk about whatever topic you want. Holler at us. We want to hear.
That's right.
We want to hear what you want to hear.
Exactly.
Let's get into our Hate It or Love It segment.
It's that time for Love It or Hate It.
Hate it.
If we love it, we talk about it. If we hate it, we move on.
Starting off our sneakers of the week this week, we have the Air Jordan 1 High OG Women's Satin Bread.
I'm pissed that these didn't come in the men's. I want some satin breads. Fire though.
I dig them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
This is a good week. I'm trying to look and see which ones are my favorite. The Nike SB Dunk Low Mystic Reds.
Fire.
Those are pretty tough too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm necessarily a red shoe girl though. Remember we had
Really?
this fight, Steve. We
These
had
are
this
kind of
fight.
these are kind of like a subtle red.
Fair enough. Yeah. The Nike Dunk Low Premium Cargo Khakis.
Fire.
I think those are my favorites this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah, those are decent.
And then last but not least, the Nike Dunk Low Women's Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah, Day of the Dead. Yeah,
I like
fire. I like
those.
these. I like these. Day of the Dead. They have some Air Jordan 1s too that are in this little mix.
So is that that's not snake, that's crocodile?
Looks like crocodile. Yeah, fire.
Ooh.
I like these.
So what's y'all's favorite this
Probably
week?
the
This is a tough one.
Dia dos
I mean, the
Muertos.
cargo khaki might be my favorite this week.
I
Yeah.
also like the satin breads. I love those
Ooh.
too.
I mean, the satins just, I feel like they would look cheap.
Get them with the right fit. Woo!
That's a Chiefs game day fit for you.
A nice little subtle
Chef's
little
kiss.
something. Yeah.
I think I'm going with the cargo khakis. I think that's my final answer this week.
All right.
Klay Thompson shares strong message amid contract rumors.
Wow.
Hate it or love it.
I love it because I think the America as a whole has been kind of wondering how this dynasty of a team is going to collapse.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I think the punch last year was like the precursor to it. So
yeah, he just posted that to Instagram. Basically like me against the world. So they haven't offered him a new deal. You paid Draymond, Steph got his money. So you got KD there now. So I mean,
ain't it funny how light-skinned people always think the world is against them?
KD, not KD, not KD there. What do you say?
No,
I'm just.
I missed it. What do you say?
Ain't it funny how light-skinned people always want to make it like the world's against them? Dude, you shoot 3-pointers on 2 repaired ACLs. Like, yes.
Shots fired, Q.
I think Klay's time is numbered. Like, he should have went to the Lakers when he had the opportunity.
You say that,
but I meant KD is in Phoenix, but they have Chris Paul. So I don't know. I don't know how this dynamic's gonna play out.
I'm loving this one. Kansas number 1 in the 2023-2024 preseason Associated Press poll and in the preseason.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
You gonna tip one back for that one, huh?
Absolutely. Steve, how you feeling about this one?
I don't know. I mean, it's crazy how they're ranked number 1 right now. I don't. This may be a down year in college basketball.
You think it's a down year?
It's a down year. Whenever you win, it's always a down year.
Like Bill Self beats the allegations. Now they're number 1 ranked. And then Bill Self's talking about he's got the best, most athletic big man he's ever had. Like, are they? Is this a repeat year?
I'm feeling it. I'm definitely feeling it.
Okay, what do we got next?
A hater gonna be a hater all their lives, Steve. It's okay. Bleacher Report asked the question: is Tyreek Hill the best wide receiver in NFL?
Best.
Love it.
And I think the Eagles, the AJ Brown is probably in that top 3 to 5 conversation. I'd say top 2. But you don't have a more dynamic wide receiver in the league that's as exciting as Tyreek Hill is right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree. I think he's the best wide receiver.
And I mean, you have a couple of guys like Justin Jefferson could be that guy, but his quarterback's not that guy.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of different people, on teams here and there. But Tyreek is. And he's done it from system to system.
And that's the thing about Tyreek is you got to have a quarterback that's willing to take the chances.
Yeah,
you got to be willing to take the shot. And a lot of these quarterbacks just
are not.
Yeah. And that's what I think. That's what Tua went into the season like. All right, it is what it is. I'm go out with a bang, and then he's flourishing.
And I mean, Tua ain't got it all up top no more. He kind of,
clearly
them marbles been knocked loose several times. So.
Now, Serena Williams makes history as first athlete to receive the CFDA Fashion Icon Award.
Dope.
Hate it or love it.
Dope.
I like that. Yeah.
Girl power.
And so I wonder what this is going to lead to for her, because I mean, Serena hasn't had her own fashion brand, has she? Has she sold clothes?
She did the thing with Nike where she brought in like the not the influencers, but she brought in like a group of 10 individuals, and they started creating her own line of like Nike sneakers. Like they were the creative. I can't remember what they were called.
Yeah, sneakers, and then I think she was supposed to do something with those like cat suits. But that didn't really do its thing. So I'm interested to see where this leads, because I feel like this is just a precursor to something.
Definitely.
Cool. Appreciate everyone who watched and joined in on today's show. What you guys have going on for the rest of the day?
Gala.
Yeah.
We had a gala today for the Next Page Foundation.
And there's still opportunity to go get some tickets for the Gift of Soul with our friend of the show, 41 News anchor Kevin Holmes. It'll be downtown later. So go get you some sneakers, go get a suit and or a dress and come through.
Yeah, because I gotta go dust off one of my suits.
Okay. All right. Until next week, we are out of here.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed on the W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundations, or affiliates.